The story begins with our main character, Masaki, reading manga about hypnosis apps in class, just for the love of the plot, imagining that he can suddenly get a hypnotic power that allows him to do whatever he wants. He has a bucket list of things he would like to do if this power existed. And topping that list are freaking straight-up ideas that would make even Johnny Sins rethink his entire career. Masaki hates the real world, since he has been a loser with no girlfriend since he was born. But while he is freaking out about why his life is so trash, the divine being in charge of freaky affairs finally decides to bless Masaki by secretly installing a hypnosis app on his device. In the same class as Masaki is a cute lady, Asaka, who is obviously beautiful, but Masaki is such a degenerate freak that he doesn't care about Asaka's beauty, but the two huge melons on her. Masaki is enjoying the view so much that it is written all over his face until two of his classmates, Shaogo and Akira, show up to taunt him. They can clearly see that he is focused on Asaka, and he can't even deny it. He ends up saying Asaka's name out loud, which catches the girl's attention. Asaka turns to him, asking if he called her, but he stutters before saying it is nothing. He apologizes for being a loser, but Asaka takes no offense, showcasing her as a considerate person. Asaka's calm approach toward Masaki leaves him flustered and blushing. Masaki starts imagining all the wild things he wants to do to Asaka again, and it takes Akira's intervention to get him back to reality. Later that day, Masaki returns home, and after handing her mother the groceries he got, he tells her that he will come back downstairs when it is time to eat. Akira lies on his bed, thinking about his future since he is graduating that year, but he has not done anything meaningful with his life. After tearing up about how trash his life is, Masaki decides to comfort himself with the one thing that has made him a prime candidate for Loser King, which is manga. However, Masaki sees something he has never seen before on his phone, which is the Hypnosis application, fully installed and ready to run. Masaki freaks out, but manages to calm himself while trying to figure out how the app got on his phone. Masaki opens the app, and the instructions on the app tell him to open the application only in front of the person he would like to influence. Masaki sees this as the most tempting offer he has ever gotten, and he decides to test it out on his sister. However, he knows that he is dead if his sister finds out that he is trying to do something weird with her. Then, after getting his sister's attention, he stands in front of her and opens the application, hoping that it would be a farce and nothing serious. However, Masaki realizes that things might be serious when his sister stays motionless until he finally gives her a command to raise her hand. Surprisingly, his so-called strict sister raises her hand without argument. Masaki still doesn't want to believe that it is working, and he orders her to do some really weird poses. Just like before, his sister follows, and Masaki almost dies of laughter when he realizes that he has his sister under his thumb. Masaki immediately realizes that he would easily run off his bucket list if the hypnosis application turns out to be what it is. Masaki then decides to test if anyone else would fall under the hypnosis. He steps out of the house, and he tries it on an old man, telling him to run. The old man turns into a full-blown Flash and runs like a deer being chased by a cheetah. After he is done messing with the bald-headed old man, Masaki decides to try it out more on others, and he is able to figure out that the app can only hypnotize up to 3 people at once. Masaki's wild thoughts take over, and he orders a girl to follow him into an alley, but his good conscience takes over, forcing him to let the girl go, even though he wants her. Later on, he spots Asaka walking by herself, and every alarm in his head starts going off. This has been his long-time dream, and he decides to use the app on Asaka. The next day after school, Masaki uses the app on Asaka, asking to go to her house, and without argument, Asaka agrees. Upon arriving at her house, Masaki wastes no time, telling Asaka to take off her sweater, and he almost runs mad with the enticing melons bouncing in front of him. Masaki then decides to proceed to the main event of the day by ordering Asaka to show him her oranges. Just as she is about to take off her clothing, Masaki notices a scar on her arm, and this immediately kills his hyper mood. Several questions start flying through his head, leaving him to wonder if Asaka was the one who cut herself, but he doesn't think she has a reason to do that. Just as Asaka is about to proceed with the last order, Masaki stops her. Masaki starts to wonder why he is hesitating when the food he has been craving for is right in front of him. Even though he is a creep, seeing the scar on Asaka's arm turned on something inside him. Since she is under hypnosis, she is more or less his puppet and would do everything he wants. Masaki then decides to ask Asaka how she got the scar on her arm. Asaka starts narrating that she once had a boyfriend who was his childhood friend. They were always together, and he also got along well with her parents. Because of how comfortable they are with each other, they started dating years ago, but ended up going to different academies. Asaka thought things would remain the same, but she later realized that she was the only one thinking that way. After going to different academies, her boyfriend's feelings for her died, and he started dating another girl from his school without Asaka's knowledge. When Asaka later found out, she questioned him, but he didn't address it seriously. He basically told Asaka that he doesn't care about her anymore. He even made it worse by kissing his new girlfriend right in Asaka's presence. As if the cheating was not enough, her ex-boyfriend decided to steal her parents' love. He started saying all sorts of trashy things about Asaka to her parents. Masaki is shocked to hear this, and he asks her why it was that way. Asaka explains that her parents were already very fond of her ex-boyfriend, which is why they believed him easily. Her parents started blaming her for not understanding the dude's feelings, and by the time Asaka realized it, she was already all alone. She didn't know what to do and thought of the last thing everyone shouldn't think of. Masaki finally realizes where the scar came from after hearing this. Asaka mentions that she didn't want to do it, but the pain she felt from the cut later gave her a bit of relief. After hearing her story, Masaki feels so much self-pity for her. Masaki sits with her and comforts her, telling her that she is an amazing person. Masaki admits that Asaka is so cheerful that no one would have even known that she is dealing with such trauma underneath. Masaki commends Asaka, saying she knows how to take care of others even though she has been through hell. After he has understood the situation, he tells her to put on her clothes. Since Asaka is still under her hypnotic powers, Masaki believes that Asaka might not remember what he wants to tell her. He lets her know that she is not alone, and because she is popular, she is everyone's favorite. Masaki urges Asaka to forget about the dude who hurt her because it is not worth suffering because of him. After he is done encouraging the hypnotic Asaka, Masaki finally leaves her house with the determination to find another girl to play with. However, before doing that, he has an important target in mind. Masaki's next target is already walking right into his line of sight. It's Asaka's scumbag ex-boyfriend, strolling around like he owns the world with his brand new green tea girlfriend clinging to his arm. The two of them are talking trash without a care, and Masaki watches from the corner like a background character waiting for his cue. The scumbag starts bragging, saying he sent pictures of himself and his new girl straight to Asaka just to mess with her head. Hearing this, a sudden wave of confidence fills Masaki because he has the Hypnosis app. He steps out and calls to them, asking why they're so obsessed with Asaka. The moment her name comes out of Masaki's mouth, the ex-boyfriend turns around with an annoyed look, then immediately starts running his mouth again, calling Asaka all kinds of trash. Masaki snaps and straight up calls the guy a scumbag to his face. The ex-boyfriend's expression twists as he threatens Masaki to say it again if he wants to get hurt. Masaki, pissed beyond caring, blurts out that Asaka ended up hurting herself because of him. Instead of feeling remorseful, the ex-boyfriend punches Masaki and proudly walks off with his girlfriend, leaving Masaki on the ground looking like a puffer fish. Seeing that talking things out got him nothing but a swollen face, Masaki finally gives up on doing things the normal way and opens the Hypnosis app, telling the couple to wait as they start to walk off. When they turn around, their movements stiffen and their eyes lose focus, and Masaki knows instantly that the app has them. Without raising his voice or showing off, he calmly orders the ex-boyfriend to go to Asaka's parents and confess everything he did to her. By the next day, the aftermath explodes across the school like a bad joke gone viral, with videos circulating of Asaka's ex-boyfriend sprinting around town in nothing but his underpants. Masaki is pleased with his masterpiece as he watches everyone gossiping about it. While he's still thinking about it, Asaka walks into the classroom and cheerfully greets him like always. She notices how awkward he looks and asks if he's okay, and Masaki barely manages to answer. his words coming out scrambled and offbeat like a broken radio, all because of the memory of hypnotizing her the day before. Asaka soon joins her friends, chatting ever so cheerfully, making Masaki wonder what happened to her after he left her house. He decides to hypnotize her again during lunchtime and ask about the events of the previous day. While he's still staring at his phone and checking his favorite app like a nervous idiot, Xiaogo and Akira suddenly rush into the classroom and start poking fun at him, immediately picking up on his flushed face as they tease him about what's got him acting so weird. During lunch break, Masaki finds himself alone in the classroom with Asaka, the atmosphere making his brain immediately wander off in the worst possible direction. His mind drifts back to the kind of nonsense fiction he reads about, imagining himself in some ridiculous manga scenario where a teacher bursts in on him and Asaka cooking rice together. The thought alone nearly short-circuits him, and realizing he is running out of time, Masaki snaps himself back to reality. Standing in front of her, he activates the hypnosis and asks her what happened after he left her house the day before. Asaka answers calmly, explaining that later that evening, her ex-boyfriend and his girlfriend suddenly showed up at her place. They apologized, confessed to everything they had done, and admitted to lying to her parents. Hearing the full story, her parents finally realized how wrong they had been, and after listening to all the things the boy had done behind her back, they apologized to Asaka for failing her as parents. She goes on to say that when she arrived at school that morning, she heard rumors that her ex had been arrested after causing a public scene. She doesn't understand why he suddenly acted so strangely, but even without knowing the reason, the outcome left her feeling lighter than she had been in a long time. As she finishes explaining everything, Masaki listens in silence, feeling a strange mix of relief. After a brief pause, Asaka admits that even so, she can't forgive her parents. No matter how much they apologized, she still couldn't understand why they chose to believe someone else over their own daughter. Hearing that makes Masaki's chest tighten, knowing how deeply that betrayal must have hurt her. Acting on instinct, he reaches out to check on her injuries, and he is relieved to see that she seems okay. Even though he knows she might not remember any of this later, Masaki tells her not to dwell on her ex and to focus on taking care of herself instead. Asaka looks at him blankly, the silence stretching long enough to make him uncomfortable, so he awkwardly adds that she should never hurt herself again. She agrees without hesitation, and something about her answer leaves Masaki uneasy. Trying to shake the tension, Masaki starts rambling, praising her smile and her large oranges. Halfway through, he realizes that he is going off track and blurts out that he doesn't want her to disappear. Asaka looks genuinely surprised by that, and Masaki quickly panics, rushing to explain that he is not into her or anything, just that seeing her smile every day gives him something to look forward to. His response is met again by Asaka's dead stare, which in turn causes Masaki to lose focus as he begins to ramble again about her large melons and cute face. While he is still rambling, Asaka suddenly pounces on him, inviting him to squeeze the oranges as much as he wants. This whole situation makes Masaki so uneasy that his face turns red, like a pair of perfectly ripe tomatoes ready for a salad. Even with their close proximity and the unmistakably suggestive position, he still cannot find the courage to act on the wildest fantasies his manga brain has ever cooked up. He mentally beats himself up, calling himself a coward over and over, even though the universe practically served his dreams on a silver platter with a side of whipped cream. Masaki finally owns the holy grail of male fantasies, a hypnosis app capable of bending people to his will. And yet, here he is, frozen like a wuss, incapable of taking even a single step toward turning his fantasies into reality. Watching Asaka continue to offer her skills, Masaki feels a tiny sense of relief. At least he's getting surface-level rewards for now, even if it's nothing like the full buffet he has been imagining. He can't help but wonder if the app has more functions beyond simple hypnosis. Driven by curiosity and a touch of desperation, Masaki pokes through the app and discovers a standby mode or hypnosis reserve function, which he didn't notice before. He reads the instructions and practically drools. This mode allows him to schedule a hypnosis in advance, guaranteeing that the target will respond automatically at the set time. Masaki's mind practically explodes with possibilities, and without hesitation, he schedules another session with Asaka for noon the next day. And just like clockwork, the following day, Masaki successfully used the standby function. Asaka had automatically responded to the scheduled hypnosis and came to the set place at the right time to meet him. Like clockwork, the next day unfolds exactly as Masaki imagines. Asaka arrives at the designated meeting spot at the exact time, as though she has been pulled there by invisible strings. Masaki's chest swells with a mix of triumph and excitement. Over the next few days, he continues to use the standby function, each session emboldening him. At last, he dares to throw himself into her bosom, his face pressing against her oranges without hesitation. He makes sure not to lay a hand on her, using only his face to get acquainted with the situation. One day after yet another successful meetup, Masaki thanks Asaka, and feeling self-righteous, he curses her ex-boyfriend for not appreciating such a gem. But he soon realizes that he is also a scum of the earth like her ex-boyfriend, for using the Hypnosis app to take advantage of Asaka, making him not much different from her ex. Noticing his turmoil, Asaka calmly reassures him that he is different and that his actions have actually helped her, but Masaki is unconvinced and feels like he might be worse than her ex. Checking the time, he tells Asaka to return to their classroom since the lunch break is almost over. In the following days, Masaki struts to school with the confidence of a protagonist in one of his favorite otaku manga. The previously dreaded mornings, when he dragged his feet and wished for invisibility, are now replaced by a spring in his step. He feels confident, armed with the Hypnosis app, and his secret rendezvous with Asaka gives him the kind of confidence only a man with a puppet at his disposal could have. Naturally, his mind wanders to the next target, because Masaki is getting bored with eating the same soup every day. Even if it is pretty good, he still wants to test out some new flavors. As if the universe has a cruel sense of humor, Masaki's attention is immediately drawn to a stunning blonde girl, named Hanma, walking directly in his path. Although Hanma doesn't have the kind of Asaka's flashy allure, she radiates a different, sophisticated kind of charm. She is also quite popular and elegant, with a great physique, too. The only downside is that she is infamous for mercilessly rejecting any boy who dares confess to her, leaving a trail of broken egos in her wake. It is due to this attitude that Hanma has earned the title of the notorious Ice Queen in their school. Just recently, another poor victim had confessed his feelings, but Hanma brutally brushed him off, ultimately destroying his tiny ego and almost making him drop out of school. Masaki shudders just by recalling all the crazy rumors about her. Then, as if mocking him personally, Hanma suddenly turns her head and catches sight of him, causing Masaki to nearly soil himself. She gives him a look that could freeze molten lava, then continues walking without acknowledging him in the slightest, as though he were a stray piece of trash in her path. Masaki swallows his panic and whispers to himself that he will conquer her one day. Even if she is Queen Elsa of Frozen herself, he can make her obey him with the Hypnosis app. His confidence swells, imagining the day she will be literally bending to his will like his personal puppet. He scoffs silently, watching her strut away like a proud peacock, utterly unbothered by his existence. By the time Masaki finally reaches school, he barely has time to sit down before Asaka approaches him, requesting a private conversation. The sudden request sends his heart rate into a flatline, leaving him in that familiar state of anxious excitement. Masaki is completely thrown off when Asaka starts talking to him without any hypnotic push. His brain instantly enters emergency mode, and he panics like his entire life is about to collapse. He wonders if she figured out his secret, or if the app finally decided to betray him at the worst possible time. His thoughts spin as he desperately tries to remember whether he missed some dumb loophole that caused her to wake up. Finding nothing, Masaki immediately imagines himself being publicly exposed and socially executed on the spot. While he spirals through 1,000 disastrous outcomes, Asaka calls his name again, snapping him back to reality. He follows her out, only to learn she just wanted to remind him about his class duty, and relief hits him instantly. Still riding that relief, Masaki promises himself he will use the app more carefully. Right on cue, Asaka casually tells him his voice is soothing. This completely shuts down Masaki's brain, leaving him staring at her like an idiot. Realizing how awkward things suddenly feel, Asaka apologizes for saying something strange. Masaki forces himself to act calm, telling her not to worry, even though he is internally falling apart. Her cheeks turn rosy, which only makes things worse. One look at her flustered expression destroys his composure, and he blurts out her name. When she responds, waiting for something meaningful, Masaki fumbles and tells her to enjoy the rest of her day. Later, Masaki uses the Hypnosis app to make Asaka sit beside him, eventually falling asleep on his shoulder. Deep down, he celebrates quietly like he unlocked an achievement he absolutely did not earn. Asaka shifts closer, treating him like a perfect pillow, while Masaki struggles not to grin like an idiot. He briefly panics at the thought of her waking up and realizing how suspiciously shady he is acting, which would end his social life instantly. When Asaka wakes up, Masaki awkwardly asks if she minds their occasional meetups. Asaka gently says she likes their relationship, especially his soothing voice. Masaki is caught off guard and feels guilty, realizing he may be abusing a cheat code he does not deserve. Seeing his reaction, Asaka reassures him that he is kind and thoughtful, which only breaks his brain further. She leans closer and says she can feel his sincerity, making Masaki's mind crash completely. Afraid he will say something stupid, he panics and orders her to leave the room. She obeys instantly, leaving him alone. After ending the hypnosis, Masaki feels satisfied that his precious app is not malfunctioning or plotting against him. He heads to the living room, where he and Asaka fill out their class duty register like responsible students. Masaki reaches for his pen, but Asaka cheerfully offers him hers. He notices she is in an unusually good mood, which puts him on edge for no logical reason. Suddenly, Asaka stares at him like he is a delicious double beef burger. Masaki looks away immediately, overwhelmed. Asaka teases him for blushing so hard, clearly enjoying his panic. He apologizes for turning away and asks why she is staring. Asaka laughs and says there is no reason, which somehow makes everything worse. Masaki struggles to keep his emotions in check, knowing that looks like that usually end in massive misunderstandings. After finishing their duties, Masaki prepares to mentally log the day as stressful when Asaka abruptly stops him. She casually invites him to join her in the locker room, lightly hinting they might be alone. Masaki freezes, shocked by how easily she says it. Deep down, he wishes she would stop tempting him when his self-control is already hanging by a thread. Unable to stay sane, Masaki considers using hypnosis before his imagination gets him into trouble. Reality hits when he sees his phone battery at 5%. Noticing his silence, Asaka asks if he is okay. Masaki forces a smile and says he is fine while internally panicking. He feels miserable for failing his so-called manga fantasies and quietly vows to bring his charger next time. The next morning, Masaki runs into Asaka on the way to school. She taps his shoulder, then casually pokes his cheeks. Masaki reacts like he just saw a ghost. Asaka clearly enjoys his misery while he struggles to stay composed, feeling like he wandered into a Korean drama. Noticing how uncomfortable he looks, Asaka apologizes, though she does nothing to hide the tempting smile on her face. Right on cue, Asaka's friends arrive, making everything worse. As they walk together, Asaka praises Masaki's beautiful handwriting, baffling him since his writing looks like a chicken coop after a disaster. The girls eagerly discuss it while Masaki trails behind, wondering if they are somehow hypnotized without him knowing. Other guys stare jealously as he is surrounded by cute girls. Masaki wonders if he saved a nation in a past life, because he cannot understand why Asaka keeps getting closer without hypnosis. Asaka notices his expression and cheerfully invites him to walk beside them. She explains she wants to be around people who treat her fairly without judging her. Masaki is left speechless, knowing he has done nothing heroic to earn that trust. He remembers she was in a good mood yesterday, too, which only adds to his confusion. Asaka calls him closer again, and Masaki settles for quietly thanking her. He still does not know why she is being so nice or how to act without malfunctioning. Even so, he walks beside her, choosing not to question it as long as she seems happy. Despite preparing himself, he nearly loses composure when she casually turns and says his name. Meanwhile, Asaka's scumbag ex-boyfriend continues having a terrible day after getting exposed online. As he scrolls through endless mocking comments, he punches a wall and wonders what he did to deserve such humiliation, completely unaware that the answer is painfully obvious. During a lecture in class, Masaki is completely lost in one of his usual manga-fueled fantasies. Ever since he started using the Hypnosis app, he has not bothered picking up new manga, mostly because real life has suddenly become way more distracting than fiction. While he is busy enjoying yet another imagination involving Asaka, Masaki is abruptly snapped back to reality when the teacher calls on him. The teacher apparently noticed Masaki's suspiciously cheerful expression, like he was having the time of his life, and decided to put him on the spot just to ruin it. After class that day, Akira questions Masaki about the teacher's scolding. He wants to know what could possibly grab Masaki's attention so hard that the lesson never stood a chance. Embarrassed, Masaki quickly says he was busy reading manga, hoping that answer would end the interrogation. Akira chuckles and asks if it was an adult manga, instantly making Masaki stiffen like he just stepped on a landmine. Masaki blurts out that he would never stoop so low as to read such shady stuff. Just then, a strange girl named Seika walks past them, immediately catching their attention. She has long, black hair and an aura that practically makes her unapproachable. Akira casually explains that Seika is often called Jimiko because she is a loner with a plain and reserved personality. Basically, Jimiko is a term for plain girls who blend into the background so well that people forget they exist. Noticing Masaki staring a little too long, Akira asks if he is interested in her. After a moment of thought, Masaki admits that while she looks decent enough, she gives off a dark and gloomy vibe that feels like it belongs in a late-night horror manga. Even so, that heavy atmosphere somehow only makes her stand out more to him. Masaki adjusts his glasses, quietly observing her retreating figure, his imagination already running wild for no good reason. Remembering some old manga logic about quiet girls being full of hidden depth, Masaki decides to test his Hypnosis app on Seika. Shortly after, Masaki and Asaka meet up for their daily scheduled hypnosis. Asaka embraces Masaki tightly, asking if it feels good. Masaki is so high on cloud 9 as he buries his face further in, unable to even mutter a word from the pleasure. This daily rendezvous has become his secret source of relief, almost like a private vacation from his boring, loser life. It even makes him momentarily forget all about his other targets, Hanma and Seika. While he is still wrapped in his fantasy, he softly calls out Hanma's name, and Asaka suddenly tightens her grip on him, questioning him about the name. Masaki is barely able to breathe as panic floods his brain. He quickly wrangles himself out of her embrace, stammering for a logical answer, all while feeling like he just got caught in an awkward cheating situation. Masaki is flustered as he tries to recall what he had actually said before she turned on him. Noticing Asaka's cold gaze, he quickly checks the app to make sure she is still under his control. Confirming that nothing has changed, Masaki wonders if he was just imagining the look on her face. He then thanks Asaka for her services and orders her to head back to the classroom, trying to act calm while internally feeling like he just survived a natural disaster. Watching her expression as she leaves, Masaki remains disturbed by the look on her face, secretly hoping it wasn't a warning he failed to decode. After school, Xiaogo invites Masaki to join him in the arcade, but Masaki refuses because his phone is almost dead and his portable charger barely has any juice left. After saying goodbye to his friend, he starts walking home, stopping when he passes by Asaka's house. Even though it has been a while since he last checked in on her at home, Masaki feels relieved that things have been going much better for her since his last visit. He quietly walks past, deciding not to worry too much about her living situation. Suddenly, he stops dead in his tracks when he sees Asaka shoving her ex-boyfriend like an annoying piece of trash. The dude keeps trying to talk, probably thinking words can fix everything, but she angrily tells him to get out of her way. Seeing the scene makes Masaki almost explode with irritation as he wonders why the scumbag keeps trying to worm his way back into Asaka's life. She was finally starting to enjoy a normal life, but now this guy is trying to ruin it. Masaki decisively pulls out his phone, ready to unleash his hidden weapon, only to see that it is stuck on the dreaded 5%. He quickly ponders how to handle the situation without his Hypnosis app, fearing that a direct approach might just make him look pathetic. Still feeling like a total loser but refusing to back down, Masaki decides to play the knight in shining armor anyway. He strides toward them, trying to make Asaka feel like she has someone watching her back. With as much bravado as he can muster, he reminds the scumbag about his viral, humiliating road run, which makes the guy absolutely furious. Asaka stares, clearly stunned by Masaki's sudden confidence, and asks how he even got to her house. Masaki calmly explains that he was just passing by on his way home and decided to step in. Even though he knows he might not actually be that useful, he still tells Asaka to stand behind him, doing his best to look heroic. Watching Masaki try to play the hero, the guy angrily tells him to butt out of their business. Masaki only makes things worse by poking fun at the ex's viral public humiliation, pushing the guy closer to a meltdown. The ex blames Masaki for meddling and ruining his perfect life. Masaki calmly reminds him that his public circus has nothing to do with him, all while secretly enjoying the chaos he caused with his hidden weapon. Noticing Masaki's smug expression, the ex suddenly snaps and grabs him, calling him trash. The scumbag glares at Masaki, clearly confused about why this random dude is interfering in Asaka's life. Masaki does not flinch and casually states that he is her classmate, which gives him every right to step in when some creep bothers her. Convinced he knows Asaka better than anyone, the ex decides Masaki needs a lesson for getting too close. Just as he prepares to punch Masaki, Asaka swoops in and slaps him so hard he momentarily forgets reality. She tells him firmly that everything between them is over and that even their so-called friendship is beyond repair. Still delusional, the idiot asks why she would side with sewer trash like Masaki. To his complete shock, Asaka pulls out her phone and threatens to expose all his secrets if he keeps bothering her. Terrified of more public humiliation, he backs off. Asaka warns him never to lay a hand on Masaki again. Once he is gone, Masaki nearly collapses, relieved that he escaped without earning battle scars. Asaka crouches down to check on him and asks how he knew about her ex. Masaki freezes, stammering uselessly. To make things worse, Asaka casually suggests they talk somewhere quieter since she has questions, instantly sending Masaki into panic mode. They sit on a park bench a few moments later. Masaki apologizes for being a coward and not actually helping during the confrontation. Asaka reassures him that she is glad he stepped in, which only makes him squirm. She asks how much he knows about her ex. Panicking, Masaki sticks to partial truths, claiming he only noticed the scar on her arm by coincidence. He explains that he was worried but did not ask because they were not close, and he did not want to make her uncomfortable. However, things changed when he ran into her ex on the street, trash-talking her in front of his girlfriend, which prompted him to confront the ex. Masaki adds that the ex actually punched him, which explains why the situation felt familiar. Asaka feels terrible for dragging him into her mess. Masaki jokes that it did not even hurt, then adds with fake seriousness that he has absolutely nothing to do with the viral video of her ex sprinting through town in SpongeBob underpants while being chased by cops. After finishing his story, Masaki apologizes again just to be safe. To his surprise, Asaka grabs his face like he is a baby and apologizes for dragging him into her drama. Masaki's brain shuts down and he pulls back, insisting she did nothing wrong since he acted on his own. Asaka continues blaming herself anyway, acting shy enough that Masaki briefly wonders if she is under hypnosis. She then smiles brightly and offers to repay him in a deliberately vague way. Overwhelmed, Masaki turns away and desperately tries to maintain his usual loser energy instead of melting completely. After an awkward silence, Masaki tells her not to worry and asks her to promise never to hurt herself over a useless guy. Asaka agrees instantly and thanks him again. She explains that her ex treated her terribly and that her past submissive behavior made him think he could waltz back into her life. She assures Masaki that he will never bother them again since he is terrified of more rumors destroying what remains of his reputation. Feeling oddly responsible, Masaki tells her to call him if she ever needs help again. After clearing the air, Asaka suddenly asks Masaki if he has any wishes. His brain overloads and he stares at her like a deer in headlights. His thoughts spiral into absurd and painfully embarrassing scenarios involving Asaka, each worse than the last. Realizing how catastrophically stupid he would sound if he voiced any of them, Masaki shuts them down immediately. Unfortunately, that only makes things worse as he starts wondering how she would react if he actually acted on one. Since she is offering so casually, he panics over wasting what feels like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. While Masaki is still trapped in his internal meltdown, Asaka senses his turmoil and suddenly grabs his hand, sweetly asking if he wants to help harvest her oranges. Masaki's brain completely implodes as the question loops endlessly in his head. Somehow, picking fruit now feels like a life-altering decision, leaving him staring at her in a daze and wondering how things escalated into something this absurdly cute. Masaki is still trying to process what is happening when he nearly gets a nosebleed, realizing Asaka is not under his control. Somehow, his hand ends up drifting toward her chest as if guided by fate itself. Since she is practically inviting him, he briefly considers playing along, but his weak nerves betray him. Snapping back to reality, Masaki abruptly pulls his hand away and tells her to stop. Asaka looks genuinely offended, wondering if he finds her completely uninteresting. Panicking, Masaki blurts out that he is interested. Relieved, Asaka smiles, satisfied that even if he cannot explain himself, he is at least drawn to her. Masaki tries to clarify, but Asaka casually brushes it off, clearly not interested in dragging things out. Masaki still wants to explain, but as usual, his brain provides absolutely nothing useful. Deep down, he feels miserable for chickening out of what felt like a buy one, get one free deal. Asaka, meanwhile, seems far too skilled at torturing insecure, wimpy boys. She casually asks if he has ever worked on an orange farm. Masaki, pretending to be pure and innocent, swears he has zero experience harvesting fruit of any kind. He even adds that he has never had a girlfriend and is inexperienced in every possible way. Internally, he laughs at the irony, remembering all the ridiculous things he has secretly done with hypnotized Asaka. Hearing this, Asaka relaxes and starts explaining how soft oranges can be. Masaki, despite being painfully familiar with such softness, forces himself to act clueless. His eyes drift to the oranges anyway, and his thoughts spiral. He realizes that without the Hypnosis app, he is completely useless. Even with it, he never actually followed through on anything meaningful. Lost in his own self-loathing, Masaki snaps back to reality when Asaka calls his name. Like a deer caught in headlights, Masaki stares at the oranges in front of him before blurting out Asaka's name like an absolute wimp. He admits that while he likes oranges just like any guy would, what he really wants is to stay beside her and enjoy her energetic presence. Trying to act noble, he advises her not to offer herself so casually. Asaka laughs and says she only did it because it was him and would never do that for anyone else. Her smile leaves Masaki flustered and unable to respond properly. She even calls him a nice guy, and Masaki denies it, knowing full well he only played nice because he is a total loser. Since it is getting dark, he offers to walk her home and she agrees. At her doorstep, Asaka thanks him and then asks if they can hang out again tomorrow. Stating that they are classmates, Masaki immediately agrees and heads home. That night, Asaka struggles to sleep, her thoughts stuck on Masaki and how he stood up for her against her ex. She fixates on his soothing voice, realizing she has been dreaming about him lately. However, what she calls dreams are actually fragmented memories of the absurd things Masaki made her do under hypnosis. She recalls sleeping on his shoulder, farming oranges with him, and watching him spiral whenever he failed to act on his fantasies. These dreams explain why she has been paying more attention to him lately. Even if they are just dreams, it makes Asaka want to spoil Masaki more. She quietly wishes he could be the only one holding her. Still, no matter what she tries in reality, Masaki never seems interested. Even so, she feels content just interacting with him. She cannot remember everything clearly, but she always feels safe around Masaki. This time, it is Asaka who spirals, completely lost in thoughts of him. The next day, Asaka enters the classroom cheerfully greeting Masaki while positioning herself in a way that nearly gives him a heart attack. When he looks up, he is greeted by an overwhelming view. He pretends to be unfazed but is secretly pleased. Asaka notices his unease and asks about it, but Masaki brushes it off. She presses further, asking why he seems to be in a good mood. Masaki cannot bring himself to admit that seeing her brightened his morning. Asaka leans in further, rubbing her head against his, completely destroying his composure. She teases him until someone calls her name, and she walks off, waving goodbye. Masaki watches her leave, wondering if he somehow wandered into a rom-com. Left alone, Masaki mentally beats himself up for being a coward. Even with a hypnosis app, he has failed to act on any of his manga-fueled fantasies. Angry at himself for wasting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, he pulls out his phone and decides to vent his frustration by hypnotizing other girls to build confidence. He plans to use the app after school. After school, Masaki searches the hallway for a target and spots the gloomy Seika. He follows her quietly, noticing how her oranges bounce as she walks. For someone so quiet, she hides an impressive orange farm. Determined to uncover such treasures, Masaki checks his surroundings and pulls out his phone. At that exact moment, a loud notification blasts from it, and it turns out the loser forgot to silence it. Startled by the noise, Masaki drops his phone. As if mocking him, it bounces off Seika's head and lands at her feet. Masaki apologizes frantically, asking if she is okay. Seika ignores him, staring at the phone intently. Masaki realizes in horror that the Hypnosis app is already open. Internally losing his mind, he can only hope she did not see anything suspicious. Meanwhile, Seika quietly picks up the phone and hands it to Masaki before walking away. He lets out a relieved sigh, glad it looks like she didn't notice anything suspicious. Watching her leave, Masaki can't help but feel the cold, unique dark aura radiating from her. Even though she seems completely unapproachable, that doesn't stop him from wanting to pull some harmless mischief on her. Masaki calls out her name, and as she turns, he quickly uses the app on her. Her expression instantly goes blank, and Masaki orders her to inspect her orange farm with her arms. He can't hide his excitement at the sight of the huge oranges and grins, satisfied that the app is working exactly as expected. Feeling even bolder, he orders her to hug him from behind. Seika complies immediately, which makes Masaki internally freak out over the unexpected thrill of the situation. He can't help but wonder if these oranges somehow compete in size with Asaka. Curiosity gets the better of him, and he asks about her cup size, discovering it is at least 2 sizes bigger than Asaka's. Masaki practically soars to cloud 9, unable to contain his excitement while secretly congratulating himself for researching responsibly. After settling that little mystery, he also confirms that her parents are not home. With a mischievous grin, Masaki orders her to lead him to her house, ready for another chaotic session. Afterward, they reach Seika's apartment, and Masaki can still feel that weird coldness around her. He wonders if anything is different about her, but quickly brushes off the thought after a while. Inside the apartment, Seika invites him into her room, which looks way too plain to be a girl's room. Masaki also notices that apart from being plain, the room is sparkly clean. The girl is so cold and plain that he can't even imagine her having any girly, cute belongings. After checking out the room, he asks about her parents' schedule, but she has no idea when they'll be home. Masaki shrugs, realizing he'll have to handle things quickly to avoid getting caught by them. He orders Seika to help him with some research for his orange farm experiment, and she follows without hesitation. Watching her take off the jacket almost rips Masaki's heart out. Even though he has done it with Asaka countless times, Seika's case somehow causes him even more tension. Masaki is stunned after she finishes taking off her jacket, leaving him wondering how the shirt buttons can hold up such a huge load. Today, Masaki seems to have more courage than usual, and he orders Seika to take off the rest. Without any hesitation, she completely takes off the lower level, revealing some scratches on her legs. Masaki soon notices them and interrogates her about it. To his shock, he learns that her father can be really rough and sometimes takes his anger out on others. Masaki feels a pang of guilt, realizing she is just another girl with a rough life, making him lose interest in taking things further today. The scene then flashes back to after Asaka's scumbag ex-boyfriend had punched Masaki on the street. After returning home that day, his sister had seen the bruise on his face and asked him about it, but Masaki claimed he had fallen on his own. While soaking in the tub, Masaki's sister worries about him getting hurt. She didn't buy his claim of falling down and believes someone must have attacked him. Masaki is a terrible liar, so she noticed him beating around the bush to avoid her questions. While drying her hair, she vows to catch the culprit who hurt her brother and make them pay. Right then, Masaki suddenly bursts into the room searching for his underwear, only to receive another punch in the same cheek from his sister for intruding on her. By the following morning, Masaki had recovered from the punch thanks to his mother's medical intervention. That morning, his sister teased him a bit, offering to help him get used to receiving punches. Back in the present, Masaki is stuck staring at Seika so hard that she eventually asks if something is wrong with him. Masaki glances at his app, briefly wondering if this busted miracle tool only activates around girls with daddy issues. He lets out a tired sigh, realizing he somehow signed up for another round of unlicensed counseling. A moment later, Masaki and Seika are sitting on the bed while he carefully asks about her situation with her father, already bracing himself for the worst. Seika explains that years ago, all she ever got from him were alcohol-induced verbal explosions. Her whole quiet, invisible vibe did not come from nowhere, because it was drilled into her daily by her drunk dad, who kept telling her to vanish from his sight like an inconvenience. He hated her mother with passion, so naturally, all that bitterness was rerouted straight into Seika, calling her trash and reminding her she deserved nothing good. Hearing this makes Masaki a little sad, because words can bruise just as badly as fists when repeated long enough. Seika continues, saying her dad's drinking spiraled harder, turning the house into a non-stop argument factory until her mom went out to buy milk and never returned. Somehow, the mom was just as useless, never stepping in or protecting Seika even once. By the time she reached High Academy, the emotional mess crossed into rougher territory, with Seika becoming an outlet whenever he needed to dump his anger somewhere convenient. After listening to all the sad tales, Masaki pulls Seika closer and moves her bangs aside, finally seeing her face properly. He is genuinely stunned that such a pretty face has been hiding under all that hair like a forbidden secret. Wondering why she hides her face all the time, Masaki learns that she does it to prevent her father from reaching for her face. Checking closely, Masaki notices there are no marks on her face. He also learns that the deadbeat has never crossed the line with her. However, from Seika's response, Masaki fears that there might actually be a possibility of it happening anytime soon. He then asks how she has been coping with the situation, and Seika explains that with no one to rely on, she mostly keeps to herself. Masaki hesitates, then carefully asks if she has ever felt pushed toward thoughts no one should have to deal with. She admits she has thought about it, even if she never acted, mostly because nobody ever made her feel like she mattered. Trying to anchor her, Masaki orders her to hug him from behind again, and she does so immediately. The warmth hits him harder than expected, making him blush as he awkwardly asks her to hold tighter, like this is somehow a medical procedure. Masaki gently lets her know that she is worth it, and he would feel sad if she were to suddenly get hurt. He goes further, rambling about her precious treasure, saying her hug brings him happiness. Hearing all these from Masaki stirs something inside Seika. Suddenly, her phone rings, interrupting the moment, and Masaki orders her to answer the phone. The call is from her deadbeat father, who is outside drowning himself in booze. He tells Seika to eat and clean up the house, threatening to deal with her if he returns to find the place trashed. After the call ends, Masaki looks at her, wondering what kind of crime earns this level of hatred from a parent. Seika stares at her own scars, calling herself trash under her breath, and Masaki immediately shuts that down, telling her she is precious. To make her feel even more valued, he talks about her skin like something straight out of a soap ad. At a time when he is supposed to be providing some serious emotional support, Masaki finds himself distracted by the view in front of him. Seika notices him sighing, and she asks why he looks down. Masaki bluntly reveals all the mischief he had earlier planned for Seika. However, because of all the sob stories, he has lost interest in proceeding any further. Masaki tries to control all the fire burning inside him as he mentally nudges himself to turn away from the dark side. Suddenly, Seika jumps into Masaki's arms, locking him in a tight embrace. Although stunned by her sudden act, Masaki can't help but revel in the moment like a lascivious goat. From Masaki, she learns that this sort of thing really makes him happy. As she releases her grip on him, Masaki rambles on about Seika's worth like some corny pickup line. Telling her he doesn't want the moment to end, Masaki reassures Seika that she is built to spread squishy goodness to the world, and by extension him. Before long, the whole scene spirals into a scene from a romantic K-drama moment as Masaki, trying to be his own personal Song Kang, gently tells Seika that he needs her. Just this last line alone really evokes a lot of feelings from her. Masaki offers to help her in any way he can and pleads with her to keep pushing forward. Now separated by a tense atmosphere around them, Seika is driven to tears after hearing his soapy speech. Masaki wipes her tears, begging her to stop crying, because she might end up confused when she wakes up from the hypnosis later. Masaki checks his phone to see if he can make her text him later. Unfortunately, he is met with the usual dreaded 5% battery. Seeing his deceit about to be exposed, Masaki quickly prepares to bolt out of the apartment. Trying to play it cool, he gently informs Seika of his departure while having an internal meltdown due to his battery situation. Right when he tries to leave, Seika grabs the edge of his jacket to stop him. She looks at him with sad eyes like a wet puppy, silently pleading for him to stay. Masaki gently pats her head, promising to check in on her again soon. While still patting her head, he reminds her again to take care of herself, reassuring her that he would manage her father's situation. Shortly after, Masaki arrives home to find his mom and sister commenting on his lateness. That night, Masaki, unable to fall asleep, contemplates how to help Seika. He fears he might not be able to handle it because it is more complicated than Asaka's situation. Masaki feels stuck because he never wanted to get involved in any drama. All he wanted was to bask in different orange farms without having to deal with any emotional drama. However, it seems the Hypnosis app comes with some secret side quests as payment. Even though he wants to ignore all the drama, Masaki finds it hard to ignore them and just focus on wreaking mischief in the world. He feels some sort of pull to help and rescue the damsel in distress while collecting a few side rewards. Masaki recalls that Seika had a good impression of her grandparents, and they were nice to her. Remembering that his own grandparents also doted on him, Masaki agrees that most grandparents are nice to their grandchildren. Besides, Masaki feels that it would be taboo for anyone to hate such a precious girl as Seika. Getting carried away again by a bunch of rubbish imaginations, Masaki wonders why his brain is full of garbage. He finds it hard to believe that his brain has time to wander at a time when he needs a strategy to help a poor girl. After staring at a picture of Seika and her grandparents on his phone, Masaki makes up his mind to help her, and the first step is to get her out of her living situation with the deadbeat father. The following day at school, he sees Seika walking in the hallway in her usual invisible manner. He watches her walk past him as he prepares to initiate the first phase of his plan. Heaving a heavy sigh, Masaki voluntarily greets Asaka, who is chatting happily with her friend, and she cheerfully responds to his greeting. Masaki can't believe he made the first move all by himself, which is pretty hard for an ordinary loser like him. Asaka lets him know how happy she is that he greeted her first. As usual, he gets distracted by his daily dose of Asaka's dazzling smile. Shortly after exchanging pleasantries, Masaki informs Asaka that he wants to discuss something with her. Apparently, she has a part to play in his plans to help Seika escape her deadbeat dad. Moments later, Masaki tells Asaka about Seika's situation, making her promise not to breathe a word of it to anyone. He explains that while he plans to help, he cannot handle everything alone, which is why he needs her help. Asaka agrees immediately and asks for more details about his strategy. Masaki is surprised she signs on without interrogating him like a detective. After hesitating, he explains that Phase 1 is getting Seika out of the nightmare she calls home. Knowing it might take time, he asks if Seika can stay at Asaka's house until they sort things out. Without even pretending to think, Asaka happily agrees. Masaki is stunned by how easily she accepts and tries to get her to reconsider, but Asaka insists she does not need to. She admits she is worried about Seika, but she agreed so quickly because she trusts Masaki completely. She is also happy he trusted her enough to include her in his plans. Masaki tries to look like a responsible adult, but he still blushes when he sees her bright smile. Getting back on track, Masaki asks if she has ever talked to Seika before. Even though she has never interacted with the gloomy girl, Asaka confidently says she will approach her after school. Masaki trusts her completely, since her sunny personality naturally pulls people in. Leaving it to her, Masaki prepares to go, but Asaka stops him and compliments how cool he looks when he plays the hero. This alone nearly breaks him, since he knows he is just a certified loser pretending to be brave. Unsure how to respond to his first genuine compliment ever, Masaki awkwardly tries to play it cool. Before he leaves, Asaka suggests they add each other so she can send updates. Minutes later, Masaki walks around like a male peacock with full main character energy while rereading Asaka's message, as though it might vanish. He grins like an idiot because this is his first time exchanging contact info with an actual real-life girl. He keeps checking his phone just to confirm his brain is not hallucinating from loneliness. Outside the school gates, Seika walks home alone, quietly wondering why she even exists. She looks exhausted as she replays how everything she cared about was crushed by her father. With nothing that feels like hers anymore, she questions whether holding onto anything is even worth it. She used to envy cheerful girls, but now everything feels colorless, and even jealousy feels like too much effort. As she walks, Seika wishes someone would save her. Right on cue, as if the universe is crying for her, it starts raining. Just like a scene ripped straight from a drama, Asaka calls out to Seika and offers to share an umbrella, leaving Seika stunned. Ignoring her silence, Asaka pulls her under the umbrella and starts chatting like they have been besties for a while. She then compliments her hair and asks about her hair products. Seika quietly says she uses nothing special, still stunned that a popular girl is casually talking to her. Noticing her discomfort, Asaka asks what is wrong. Seika wonders why Asaka chose her when there are so many girls with better personalities. Asaka smiles, saying she finds making new friends always fun. As the rain stops, she closes the umbrella and invites Seika to take a detour together. Elsewhere, Masaki is waiting for Seika's father, and he checks his battery percentage to make sure that he is ready for phase 2 of the plan. Right on cue, the deadbeat returns home, and Masaki stops him at the gate. Masaki introduces himself as Seika's classmate before boldly confronting him for taking out his frustrations on the poor girl. At first, Seika's father tries to feign ignorance, but Masaki presses further, revealing he has already seen the scars. Seeing his shameful act exposed, the deadbeat warns Masaki to stay out of their business. Masaki's courage almost runs out when he feels the intimidating atmosphere around the man. Deciding not to argue with him any further, Masaki pulls out his phone to use hypnosis instead. Just as the man orders him to leave, the hypnosis kicks in. Masaki questions him about why he treats his daughter so cruelly. Even hypnotized, the man spews garbage, calling Seika worthless and undeserving of anything good. Masaki is horrified that parents like this exist. It gets worse when the man makes a disgusting comment about Seika's body. At that moment, Masaki feels deeply grateful for his own parents. Ordering the man to shut up, he prepares to continue questioning him, commanding him to answer honestly. Meanwhile, Seika is relaxing at Asaka's house, quietly thanking her for inviting her over. The two of them have already settled in pretty comfortably, and Seika hesitantly wonders if it is okay for her to stay the night without causing trouble. Asaka immediately assures her it is totally fine, cheerfully adding that she had fun hanging out with a new friend for once. After everything calms down, they casually agree to call each other by their first names. Asaka, being her usual bubbly self, suddenly hugs Seika tightly and calls her by her first name, catching her completely off guard in the best way. Seika feels a sudden rush of warmth because of this gesture. She then thanks Asaka for giving her a nightwear to sleep in. She can't help but comment on how many girly, cute things Asaka owns. Asaka says she casually buys them anytime she stumbles upon them on the road. She then asks if Seika also owns any cute stuff, but Seika quietly mutters that cute things don't fit her. Asaka reveals that she once saw her checking out accessories in a store, making Seika embarrassed. She hands Seika a gift package containing a handkerchief to signify their first meeting. Seika accepts the gift, but offers to pay her back for it, to which Asaka refuses. Apparently, she bought it as a matching set for both of them. Seika feels bad because she doesn't have any return gifts to offer. To make her feel better, Asaka suggests they pick something out together next time. Still enjoying such an unbelievable moment, Seika wishes time could stop at this very moment. She suddenly bursts into tears, saying she doesn't want to return home. Asaka embraces her, telling her to pour out her heart. Seika, feeling overwhelmed, starts to pour out her heart to Asaka. Asaka thanks Seika for trusting her, gently cheering her on for being so strong. Still wrapped in her embrace, Seika continues crying profusely. She had been dealing with a lot alone for so long. She even avoided telling her grandparents about the terrible situation at home. After pouring out her heart, Asaka happily informs Seika that someone was already working behind the scenes to make her life better. She assures her that everything will soon be fine. Even though she didn't understand what Asaka meant, Seika chose to believe her. Shortly after the waterworks, Seika reveals she has been dreaming about a boy encouraging her. Asaka is stunned because she had such similar dreams. Seika is also surprised to hear this, and from just her countenance, she could tell that Asaka has also been through a lot. After sharing experiences, the girls feel closer to each other. Seika is so glad to finally have a friend because she thought she would finish school without a single friend. She complains about her gloominess to Asaka, calling herself ugly. Asaka, shocked, angrily warns her never to sell herself short like that. She comments that even the pajamas look like a pageantry gown on Seika. Seika refuses to believe her because Asaka might just be saying it to please her. To show Seika that she is serious, Asaka decides to put her in some normal clothes. She is stunned when she yanks the nightwear off Seika, revealing some pretty large oranges. Asaka learns that they are 2 sizes above hers and proceeds to tease Seika about them, leaving her embarrassed. Moments later, she forces a beautiful top on Seika while she struggles to wrangle free from Asaka's grip. Back home, Masaki receives an update from Asaka that leaves him in shambles. In the message, Asaka had sent him a very cute picture of herself and Seika all dolled up. Masaki almost gets a nosebleed as he tries to calm himself down from all the excitement. Like the mischievous devil he is, he first saves the picture to his favorite album for future reference before replying to the message. Seeing Asaka and Seika having fun, Masaki is relieved that his plans seem to be working out fine. He checks the picture of Seika with her grandparents again as he prepares for the second phase of his plan. The following day, he navigates his way to Seika's grandparents' house. Even though she didn't want to involve her grandparents in her affairs, Masaki still thinks they should get involved. From his conversation with her, it sure sounded like she wanted them to come save her. Gathering all his courage, Masaki heads inside the compound where he immediately finds the grandmother. He immediately greets the cheerful old lady, noting that she seems quite outgoing. Getting down to business, he introduces himself as Seika's classmate. The grandmother mistakes him for one of Seika's friends, making him flustered. She quickly calls the grandfather outside to meet Masaki. Despite his discomfort with the situation, Masaki does his best to remain composed. The grandfather thanks him for getting along with Seika and then speaks briefly about her. Remembering how shy she has always been, the old man is relieved to hear that she has finally made friends. Although Masaki feels guilty about shattering their peaceful ignorance, he decides to tell them the truth about Seika's suffering at home. He explains the situation with her father in detail, then shows them a video of the man confessing to his crimes. After watching the footage, they are brought to tears, finally realizing how badly they failed to notice what Seika had been enduring on her own. Masaki explains that Seika is currently staying with a female classmate for her safety, and that he intends to submit the video as concrete evidence. After laying everything out, Masaki bows deeply, practically begging them to save her from being sent back into the same miserable situation. Moments later, he heads home with a heavy yet relieved feeling, glad that he managed to do something right for once. It turns out he had also recorded Seika talking about her father and home life while she was under hypnosis. Knowing this, Masaki feels reassured that she can finally rest easy now that her grandparents are involved. At the same time, he can't believe he got himself tangled up in this whole mess. All he ever wanted was a hypnosis app to indulge his manga-fueled fantasies, yet somehow he ended up using it to step into other people's complicated lives. Though he may have fallen short of his manga dreams, Masaki still feels like he's reached an important milestone by helping the girls. After texting Asaka to let her know about his visit to Seika's grandparents, she invites him to join her for lunch. Masaki immediately gets excited, imagining the invitation as a date with Asaka. However, his enthusiasm fades just as quickly when he reminds himself that for someone as outgoing as her, having lunch with others is completely normal. He checks his reflection in a nearby mirror before looking down at his phone to check Asaka's location. Just then, Asaka approaches him, waving cheerfully. Masaki can't help but notice how pretty she looks in her cute outfit. She soon notices his flushed expression and asks about it, but Masaki brushes it off, pretending to stay calm. She suggests a restaurant close by, and the moment Masaki steps inside, he freezes in shock because Seika is already there, waiting for them. He had completely forgotten that since she lived with Asaka, she would definitely be at the lunch date with them. Moments later, the three of them sit down, an awkward silence settling over the table. Masaki has no idea how to act around Seika, as this is technically their first official meeting. To make matters worse, Asaka suddenly excuses herself to use the restroom. Before he can even say a word, she hurries off, leaving Masaki alone to deal with the uncomfortable tension. Shortly after she leaves, another silence settles in as Masaki struggles to break the ice. Thankfully, Seika speaks first, thanking him for saving her. Though surprised that she addressed him so directly, Masaki is momentarily confused by her sudden gratitude. She explains that her grandparents already called to inform her that he visited their house. Masaki realizes he gave them his name without thinking, forgetting that he wanted to stay anonymous. Having never had anyone stand up for her before, Seika doesn't know how to properly express her gratitude. Masaki accepts her thanks, but casually claims that Asaka did most of the work getting her out of that hellhole. No matter how much he downplays it, Seika insists he played an important role by informing her grandparents. Masaki still feels like he didn't do enough, since he couldn't handle everything on his own. Even with the app letting him get away with a lot, Seika's problem still required real adults to step in. He briefly wishes he could rewrite the rules of the world with the Hypnosis app, but the very thought of that kind of power terrifies him. Trying to keep the conversation going, Masaki searches for a reasonable explanation of how he knew about Seika's situation. Seika, unwilling to dwell on it, simply says that all that matters to her is that Masaki saved her. Masaki is a bit confused by her nonchalant attitude, and Seika reassures him, saying she trusts his voice, leaving him even more confused. Her words somehow remind him of Asaka always dwelling on his voice. Moments later, Asaka returns from her bathroom break. She suggests they go shopping together after eating, leaving the other two stunned. Shortly after eating, Masaki trails behind the girls as they shop. They enter a female clothing store where he feels completely out of place. Asaka calls him to help her check out Seika's new outfit, and Masaki can't help but get distracted by the tightly fitted dress. He struggles while trying to keep calm in order not to show any weakness. By the time they are done, Asaka announces they need to head to the next shop, but Seika and Masaki are already worn out. After a whole day of shopping, he walks the girls home, and Asaka invites him to come inside. Not even waiting for him to decide, she immediately drags him into her room. After they settle down, she heads out to grab refreshments for them. Masaki quietly scans the neat room with a growing nervousness within. While waiting for Asaka to return, he asks Seika about their sleepover, and she responds, saying they had a lot of fun. She explains that Asaka is quite fun to hang out with. Noticing they are now on a first-name basis, Masaki asks when they got so close. Seika goes on to tell him about their bonding session the previous day. Masaki is impressed that Asaka can rope in even the most closed-off person in such a short time. The two of them continue talking about Asaka, and moments later, she steps into the room carrying a tray filled with refreshments. Watching the girls chat excitedly, Masaki feels so happy, wishing everything could remain the same between them. Right then, he realizes that all his previous tension has disappeared. He quietly watches them, mentally thinking about all the mischievous things he did while they were hypnotized. Masaki quietly marvels at their ignorance while they cheerfully chatter away. Realizing he has two targets in the same location, Masaki decides to use the app on them. After activating the hypnosis, he orders the girls to come closer to him. Masaki excitedly looks forward to finally building his personal harem. Moments later, Masaki basks in the sweet-smelling sensation of his budding harem. He instructs them to inch even closer to him, and before long, Masaki is excited to the point of tears. Never in his wildest dreams did he think he would be able to enjoy something only possible in fiction. Seeing how much he enjoys their company, the girls draw even closer, whispering sweet nothings into his ear. Next, Masaki squishes himself between the orange trees to feel their ripeness. To Masaki, the two girls are quite unlucky to meet a sad loser like him. To take things further, he orders them to bury him in a pool of ripe, soft oranges. Shortly after swooshing and swishings, he thanks them for indulging him. Suddenly, a pang of guilt washes over Masaki, and he feels bad for secretly using the app on them. Because of this guilty feeling, Masaki wonders when he will complete his villain transformation. After all, villains have no conscience. Asaka and Seika gladly let him know that there is no need for him to feel bad since they are willing to repay him this way. Hearing them call him kind leaves Masaki confused because he is anything but gentle and kind. Nonetheless, wanting to believe their words, he decides to stop feeling guilty, since the girls are actually telling the truth due to the hypnotic effect. Masaki is a bit worried, though, because the girls are unusually friendly even though they are under hypnosis. He checks the app again to make sure everything is still functioning properly. After pondering the situation, he suddenly realizes that the girls are subconsciously responding to his needs, almost as if learning to cater to him without being told to do so. As if they can sense his worries, the girls move on cue to wipe the melons using his face, ultimately making Masaki forget everything. Moments later, he recovers just in time to check his battery, only to find the usual lousy 5%. This makes Masaki wonder if hypnotizing two girls at once caused his battery to run out of juice so quickly. With his battery running out, he decided to end the show. First, he reassures Seika that her grandparents will handle things soon. He also tells her to trust him, come to him if she ever runs into trouble. Masaki further asks Seika to find value in her life by living to satisfy him. Hearing this, Seika, like a brainless simp, vows to make it her life mission to satisfy Masaki. Masaki then turns to thank Asaka for helping him get Seika out. He also instructs her to tell him during their hypnosis sessions if she ever runs into any trouble. Suddenly, Asaka thanks him with actual visible emotion on her face, leaving Masaki speechless. He studies her face, wondering if he is just daydreaming or Asaka truly showed an emotion while under hypnosis. Panicking, Masaki checks the app for any loopholes he may have missed. He wonders if continuous use somehow results in a changed effect on the target. Unable to come up with a valid explanation, he repositions everything exactly as it was before the hypnosis. And just like that, the girls are released from the app as they return to chatting while eating. While bickering about eating snacks, Asaka playfully grabs Seika from behind, teasing her about her figure. Masaki is so flustered as he watches the whole scenario wide-eyed. After returning home that night, he couldn't stop thinking about his eventful day. Masaki cannot wait to enjoy another swell orange farming moment again. He checks his phone again, unable to believe that he has graduated to owning the contact info of two high-level beauties. He recalls how Seika and Asaka had cheerfully escorted him out that evening. Masaki can't believe his luck as he wonders why the app suddenly appeared on his phone. Masaki fears that all this might actually be a dream. He soon spirals into several thoughts, afraid that all these might disappear once he wakes up. Refusing to let such scary thoughts terrify him, he quickly checks his phone again to make sure it is not a dream. Opening the app, Masaki is surprised to find a new screen added to it. In the middle is his name linked by pink and black arrows to several empty boxes. Masaki quickly studies the screen, and thanks to his manga knowledge, he can tell that it is a relationship chart. However, pressing the screen has no effect whatsoever, so Masaki decides to sleep. Shortly after drifting to sleep, he finds himself in a dark, empty space. Masaki carefully studies the surroundings, wondering if he is in a dream. Masaki can feel himself way too conscious for it to be simply a dream. Suddenly, an eerie voice rings out in the darkness, talking about the app. Masaki turns around to see a lecherous, ugly dude fumbling with a girl while talking trash. Masaki realizes that this ugly dude is also using the Hypnosis app, but the difference is that this dude is quite bold compared to Masaki's wimpy loser vibes. Studying the woman's eyes further, he could see she had a deep desire to destroy the lecherous man. Masaki is happy that he has never received such a terrifying look from any of his targets so far. Suddenly, as if reading his mind, the creepy dude says he is the same as Masaki, using the app to take advantage of others. Masaki, however, ignores him, as he is only concerned with exiting this nightmare, even pinching his cheeks to wake himself up. Suddenly, several creepy black lines like the ones from the relationship chart slither from beneath the woman, completely swallowing the man until he vanishes. After watching this whole scene unfold, Masaki is visibly shaken, but before he can react, the woman coldly stares at him, reaching out to grab him. Masaki trips while backing away to avoid her. Just as he falls to the ground, Masaki wakes up the following morning from the horror dream, screaming. He feels like he only dreamed of all that trash because he went to bed worrying about a bunch of stuff related to the app. He opens the app to check on the new screen again, only to find it unchanged. Masaki decides to keep a close eye on it in case something suddenly pops up. Checking his phone, Masaki is excited to start his day with messages from two girls. At first, he only wanted to use the app on them, but now that it has led him to help them, Masaki hopes he can develop a stable relationship with them outside all the hypnosis shenanigans. Meanwhile, a new rule about the app secretly pops up, stating that the app strongly affects the target's feelings, and whether those feelings are good or bad depends on the user. Later at school that morning, Seika, Asaka, and Masaki are seen in the hallway engaging in small talk. Masaki can't believe he is casually chatting with two girls at the same time. Asaka teases a flustered Seika for deliberately seeking out Masaki earlier. Watching the girls interact does quite a number on Masaki. Seika refers to him as a savior, making him uncomfortable. Masaki calmly tells her not to refer to him that way because, to him, he was only trying to help. Asaka scolds him, telling him to cut the cool guy crap. She believes that, despite claiming to be nice, only a few people genuinely follow up on their promises. To her, Masaki is a cool guy for helping Seika till the very end. Masaki simply thanked her because the praises were starting to make his head swell. Refusing to back down, Asaka goes even further to explain how amazing Masaki can be, making him extremely flustered. Seika agrees with her, and the two girls tease him a bit, seeing his flustered expression. Moments later, Masaki points out that Seika looks much different now. Asaka agrees with him that her charm is starting to show. She fiercely vows to protect Seika from any weirdos trying to take advantage of her new charm. Masaki then asks Seika about her living situation with her grandparents. Apparently, she had already moved in with her grandparents after squatting with Asaka for a while. Happily smiling, Seika let him know that she was quite satisfied with the new arrangement. Masaki notices the smile on her face, noting that her personality has also improved since they changed her environment. Feeling happier than ever, Seika thanks her new friends for all their help. Asaka hugs her tightly, while Masaki stares at them like an idiot. Afterwards, while heading home, he runs into Asaka. Since Seika seems to like cute things, Asaka informs him that they are heading out to check out a few places. Masaki also points out that Asaka, just like Seika, has changed. Even her arms now have fewer scars. Seeing the sudden change in her expression, Masaki quickly calms her down, saying he wasn't trying to compliment. After their brief exchange, Masaki heads home, contemplating how the app has turned him into a hero instead of a lecherous villain. Once again, he checks out the app, preparing to add a few more targets to his harem. Grinning like an evil overlord, Masaki reminds himself that he is simply the villain of this story. The following day, Masaki quietly watches as Hanma completely destroys another poor loser by brutally turning down his confession. After the poor loser bolts away in tears, Masaki calls out to Hanma confidently because he knows that her frozen aura doesn't apply to him, thanks to the app. Masaki celebrates as the app immediately takes effect on her. He then asks how she feels about her Ice Queen title. Hanma seems to dislike the name, and Masaki can feel the anger in her expression, so he decided not to joke about it anymore. He then orders her to take him to her house, and before long, she leads him to a high-end neighborhood. Entering the mansion, Masaki notices that Hanma is a true rich heiress. Also, according to her, her family should be home by 6, so Masaki wants to finish up quickly to avoid any embarrassment. In Hanma's bedroom, he stares at her quietly for a while. Masaki is too afraid to make a move on her because he feels like it would betray his other harem members. Masaki is frustrated knowing he doesn't possess the makings of a true villain. He then informs Hanma that he wants to inspect the goods, and she immediately complies. Masaki studies the flashy but classy orange farm in front of him. Despite having her own charm, Hanma doesn't hold a torch to either Asaka or Seika, as she seems to be on the petite side. Masaki is about to plunder the orange farm when he stops to ask her a few questions. He learns that Hanma's parents treat her like a princess. For the first time in a long time, Madaki is happy and guilt-free due to the absence of any family drama. Getting down to business, he makes her clear off the lower weeds on her land, but to his shock, Masaki finds her land completely bare without any SpongeBob underpants. Feeling embarrassed, he turns away quickly, asking her why. Hanma shyly replies that she likes leaving the land beneath her bare, and to his shock, he learns that Hanma is a sucker for punishment. While heading to school one day, Masaki checked out the new function on the app again, but the screen had not changed. Looking at the pink arrows on the screen, his manga-fueled brain starts imagining another absurd scene about Asaka and Seika. Right then, he is startled when he runs into both of them. They then offer him homemade cookies, making Masaki excited as he receives the package, as if it were a huge bag of gold. Masaki can't believe he has received God-level rewards every loser only dreams about. Just like the loser he is, Masaki feels like he hasn't done anything great to deserve such high-level treatment, so he apologizes to the girls, because in real life, a loser like Masaki can never have high-level beauties like these. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you got your hands on a Hypnosis app like Masaki.